till I can taste them. How do I know where you want to go? Damn it, I hope you come back home.
Everyone's going crazy.
Hey guys, we just saw Purple Hearts on Netflix.
That's right, everybody. Is this Marine Corps love story worth a big hoorah? Stick around, 'cause we're about to find out.
All right, guys, we're here to talk about Purple Hearts. What do we think? First off, who's in it?
Bunch of nobodies, man, but hey.
Yeah, that's true.
Sofia Carson.
Except one person's not a nobody.
Linden Ashby, baby.
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Splurged
Okay.
all on him.
That's right.
Sofia Carson, who was in The Descendants from the Disney Channel. I think she's been in a couple of different Disney
One of your
things.
typical up-and-coming Disney kids, right?
Yeah.
She does covers at dive bars.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. At the
For a
dive bar,
living.
I
at the
liked
dive bar
her.
she works at.
I liked
That
her.
she waits tables on.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got Nicholas. Well, I don't even remember what the hell the kid's name is, man. It plays Luke. I gotta look that up again.
He's going to have to look
Nicholas
it up.
Galitzine, and he plays, evidently there's like a new Cinderella movie coming out on Amazon that he plays in. Never heard of this kid before, but hey, whatever, man.
Now, of course, this movie involves a Marine. Billy and I are former Marines, so Billy's like, we gotta watch this movie at all costs. I don't care what it's about.
No, this dude's the one who told me we had to watch this movie.
Gotta
It's all
support the
the
Corps.
rage. You know.
The name in itself had me like, hell no. But he's like, no, man, everybody's raging about this movie. We gotta watch it.
Everyone's raging
So I was
about
like,
it.
all right,
It was
dude.
trending,
Yeah,
involved
trending.
Marines,
That's
so that's our specialty.
That's right.
And
gotta
now,
watch it.
normally these movies bother people who serve because they normally don't get a lot right. And this movie's not really an exception to that. It does get some things wrong, but it didn't really bother me too much.
It bothered
Yeah.
you at the beginning a lot.
Well, and the thing that killed me that I
They
can
went to
never,
San Diego.
The thing that killed me that I can never get over is like that kid's hair was pretty damn close to being out of rags the whole movie, right? Like the kid never got a haircut. He's in the Marine Corps. He had his Saturday hair, and he should have gotten it cut on Sunday. You know,
He had his Saturday hair the whole time.
the whole movie. He had his Saturday hair the whole movie, and on Sunday he never went and got his hair cut. You know?
I even asked her, I was like, is his hair get better throughout this? Like, is he on leave and he's just kind of sort of out of rags and he eventually gets a haircut?
And
but,
it's not something I picked up
No,
on.
kid-
I mean,
kid
I
never gets
thought he
haircut.
had short hair.
But his
Like,
friend Frankie is well
Oh,
within
yeah,
rags.
he's in
so-
rags, yeah. And most of his buddies were. Most of his buddies were in rags. You saw some here and there, like, all right, that dude's way out of rags. Like, I saw some whose hair they should have been in the Air Force or something, you know?
the blonde
But-
kid.
Yeah, blonde kid's hair,
Yeah,
yeah.
his hair was
Now, what I did appreciate about this is all the Marines kind of look age appropriate. Because
Oh, yeah.
normally movies, like, you know, they're in their 30s playing like E2s, E3s, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
But these guys, like, look the part for the most
They
part.
look like
they got a
kids.
bunch of young kids play a part in
and
this.
that's reality. Like, most Marines
Yeah.
are like 18, 19 years old, so.
Exactly.
Especially at the rank they're currently at, like PFCs and Lance Corporals.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so.
Yeah, and they're getting ready for their first deployment to Iraq, you know?
Not doing much training. I mean, the guy barely goes to work. But
I don't think we ever saw the guy at work, you know, the whole time until he deployed.
I mean, when
You know,
I
so-
was in the infantry prior to the war, I was gone more than half the time just doing training.
Yeah.
So,
they had already done all that.
yeah. I mean, they're trying to build a relationship with these
Yeah,
guys.
that's right. Yeah,
That happened before the movie started.
Yeah, they don't care about all the work stuff. They just want you to build a relationship between the guy and the girl, and you know, get to all the hallmarky type stuff, you know.
Hallmark.
Yeah, and he's
Hallmark
in his
is-
dress blues quite a bit in this
Oh yeah,
movie.
exactly. You know,
So-
that's the one you're gonna wear to your like mess nights and stuff like that.
The
and
ball
the
and,
balls,
and
yeah.
things. You don't really wear that outside, you know, if you're getting married or something
Right,
like
which
that.
which
Big
in the movie
celebration.
he does get married in it, but then it's like, okay, dude,
makes
now
sense.
go home and take that shit off before you go out and friggin', you know, keep doing the rest of your stuff, you know. But I had to show it off in this movie, man.
The other thing that drives me crazy as a Marine is like people are like,
Oh,
one,
yeah.
their uniform doesn't fit right, and two, they wear their cover all messed up. They wear it like a ball cap, and they're doing one of these deals
Yeah,
where it looks like silly. You know, like the back of this needs to be parallel. So I mean, you got to look right. You know what I
Right.
mean?
exactly.
So that drives me bonkers when people look like ass in uniform. But
Oh yeah, or the haircut,
You know?
man. The hair, just, the whole movie, man.
And,
That's
and
what-
you could tell
I'm just
like
get
some
the damn haircut,
you can
kid.
tell some people's cover are not the right size for their head, but they're
Uh-huh.
just kind of like put this on, make it work. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I did notice that. Like, I don't pick up on all those little things like you guys do, but I did notice, like, at the goodbye when they were getting on the bus and everything, there were some guys, like, hugging their families and everything, and it looked like they were wearing their, like, they were infants themselves wearing their
dad's
Yeah,
dad's
they're just like
hat.
handing them out here. Put this one on. Put this on. Like, I don't care what size you are. So
It's kind of swallowing your head.
yeah,
there.
little things like that. There were people like wearing their dog tags outside their shirt. I mean, that's like.
But for young
you don't
kids,
see
like
that.
young Marines like
Yeah,
that.
there
it's
might
like,
be a
okay,
young Marine
whatever,
that's
you know?
trying to show off, so that's
Yeah.
maybe believable. You won't ever
Especially in the
see like
bar.
a veteran Marine do something
no.
like that, and that's
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. But other than that,
Well, then towards the end, there's a scene where he's wearing in one part of the scene his Lance Corporal chevrons are on, and another part of the scene they're not on.
little
it flashes
disappearing chevrons.
A little disappearing chevron action. Yeah, I was like, well, what's going on there?
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I mean, he is like a war hero at this point. He should at least have a Purple Heart, Iraq Campaign Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, and he's stuck wearing his National Defense and Global War on Terrorism thing.
They
the whole
didn't
time.
The whole time,
decorate
yeah,
him
yeah.
quick enough.
And I mean, he got court-martialed quick, and you would probably
yeah.
have all that stuff by the time that happened.
Exactly.
So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and his lawyer probably wants him wearing that to remind people, like,
Exactly.
this dude
War
like,
hero. He got
is
hurt. He got
injured
injured in
from
action.
combat action. Don't forget.
Exactly.
So
Guy was serving his country, got hurt. Exactly.
All right, so what did you think about the premise?
Yeah, I mean the premise was all right. A lot of young Marines want to get married to get out of the barracks and get what they think is better pay and all that good stuff. And
Do they investigate? Do they crack down on this?
not
the way
like
they
not
act like
the-
they did?
No, not like that. I had plenty of Marines. I had one Marine that worked for me who was in a flat out sham marriage. Everybody knew it. Nobody cared.
it's hard to
Yeah,
prove
nobody cared.
intention. So
Exactly.
the only
Exactly.
time that they'd probably be really concerned with this is if like someone married a foreign national for citizenship.
exactly.
Then they might be more bothered by that than anything else.
Yeah, but for a Lance Corporal freaking marrying some random chick out in town, no, they don't even care about
I mean,
that.
these marriages don't work most of the time anyway. So like,
it's like-
maybe this
it's
one
like-
has a better
it's like-
chance. Probably stay married longer than.
maybe this arranged marriage would be better.
I honestly
Because I mean, it was
think
what,
that's
like
how-
divorce rate is like 80%
Should
or
be.
something in the Marine Corps, So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is a marriage of
We
convenience.
clearly
or
can't make the choices for ourselves.
a marriage of
Like-
convenience or a contract marriage, as some people refer to it as.
Right,
So.
exactly.
And it benefits both of them. She needs the medical
She's diabetic.
benefits,
Yeah.
and he's trying to pay off some drug debts. So,
Well, see, well, that's the thing too, man. Like this guy, prior to the Marine Corps, evidently was in a lot of freaking trouble with the law because of drugs and all kinds of stuff. He owes a drug dealer $15,000. Nowadays, even the Marine Corps can be nitpicky about taking people, and most likely the kid wouldn't have made it in the Marine Corps. Probably, probably with his background and
yeah, and they act like he did
wouldn't have made
drugs
it
real
in.
recently. I mean,
Exactly.
you normally have
Yeah.
to be like pretty deep into your past, and if you did like hardcore drugs, they might not take you at all.
Exactly. Yeah, and just from hearing this kid's background and like the crap he got himself into, the Marine Corps probably would not have taken him. The kid probably could have gotten in the military. Probably could
The
not
Marine
have
Corps is
gotten in.
actually fairly picky about that kind of stuff. The Army is even more lenient than the Marine Corps is on that. So you
Right,
probably
exactly.
have a better chance in the Army.
They don't
but,
want you to focus
but he
on
comes
that.
from
He's in
a
it.
Marine
All
Corps
right.
lineage.
Yeah,
so-
his dad's
Yeah,
retired
and his
Marine.
dad could have vouched for him, but his dad didn't know.
Right.
So, that's
yeah, his
Definitely.
relationship with his father is strained. So
strained. Yeah.
strained.
Well, they do, and they for good reason. I mean, they do explain why, and it's like, okay, I can totally understand that, But
Yeah, and obviously we're nitpicking on the Marine kind of stuff, but I mean, it didn't really bother me too much, and I thought the premise was okay, even
Yeah,
though
premise is all right.
a little bit far fetched, but it's fine. I thought the setup was okay. What'd you guys think?
I took issue with the the idea of like creating this fake marriage. They went and had wedding photos, like they had the friend Frankie.
They go way
They
out
have
of
a
the way.
common friend, to like video it and whatever. So it's like they have this record of it because he's so worried that his MP father is gonna catch on to the sham. So fake it a little bit, like you're,
yeah.
they kiss at the end of when you may kiss the bride, and it's like.
Yeah, and the look,
And then it's just like,
and the look on both their faces.
I was like,
yeah,
I am so
Yeah.
not wanting to be here right now.
Well-
I'm like, the whole point of the filming this and taking the wedding photo is to make it look like it's real. So fake it a little bit more.
Well, and the other premise to why he agreed kind of was stupid. It threw me off too, because in the beginning she's actually approaching Frankie, she was his babysitter growing up,
Right.
and she's like, Frankie, my insurance isn't covering my diabetes. I'm gonna die. Like, would you please marry me? And he's like, well, I can't because I'm back with my old girlfriend now. Yada yada yada. And the main character Luke hears this. He's like, Frankie, this is ridiculous, man. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're trying to freaking rip off the taxpayer, freaking fraud the government, this and that, and he's totally against it, going off on her and Frankie both about the whole situation. He's like, she's trying to bamboozle you here. But then a week later, he comes back to her. He's like, hey, I'll marry you.
And
Well, he was desperate.
he's such a straight shooter about how this drug stuff in the past, like
Right,
he's
right,
so
right,
concerned about
right, right.
following the law,
Right,
but
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So like that bothered me a little bit. And then I guess there was just inconsistency to me in the characters' growth and like where they started and as they grew. Like, I realized that, he basically said, when I deploy, all eyes are going to be on us because we're already raising suspicion.
I think they're going to have bigger issues on deployment. They're worrying about you and your
make sure that we're writing romantic emails to each other and that we're acting like we're in love and all that stuff. And they show them doing all that, and you can see them getting to know each other. They do legitimately get to know each other a little bit better, and it seems like they're actually forming at least a decent friendship, through this. Now, granted, this is fake, but then when he gets home, it's like instant hatred towards each other, and I'm like,
even on their marriage night, right, when they're still completely like against each other, it's all this is just a contract, we're doing this, but then they get to the room and they get an argument, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's have sex, and this is like, what, like you two don't like each other,
and I hate. Okay, let's talk about. I'm a chick here for this chick flick, right? Mm-hmm. I hate romantic movies or love story movies where you have the first kiss, like, an immediate, it's like, rip your clothes off and have sex. Like, that's just not how it works. And if it is,
that's not how it always works for me.
Like, that's the immediate, like, all of a sudden, we're now magnetically attracted to each other.
Well, maybe they're just horny. I mean, people are allowed to be, in the mood.
No.
Yeah, that was it was totally unrealistic. It really was.
Yeah,
the way they did it,
I just hate it. It's like it's not even like they make out for a little bit. It's like the first kiss and the first thing you do is like clothes come off.
But he did ask her if this is okay.
I was kind of more bothered by
gotta get consent.
That's right. You had to get the consent. Yeah.
I was kind of more bothered by when he got back. He was in the hospital, and the things he was concerned about, I thought were small compared to what he just went through.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's very little mention given to that, and
that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Especially like, spoiler, his best friend dies, and he doesn't give that much attention compared to like, you brought my dad here and all that.
I mean, they did go back to that, him kind of mourning that guy, but
well, it was like, oh, by the way, you didn't hear? Oh, yeah, Frankie's dead, but
yeah. Like, you'd think that would be on his mind more.
Well, not even that. Right. Like, they show.
I didn't tell you.
Frankie
they show
didn't make
him, in recovery and like rehab and everything for his injuries and everything, but he doesn't seem. He still seems so afraid he's going to get caught in the sham marriage, and you don't see any trauma from what he's experienced from his combat, and you would think there was some trauma there.
Yeah, they don't really get that. I mean, they kind of try to get into it a little bit when they bring in the dog, and he's like, I handle myself, I don't need this, and then he just like gives in real quick, and I was like,
yeah, the dog brings back the leash, and he's like, all right, he's my dog.
He's like, all right, I'll take the dog.
All right, yeah, Peaches, sure, I love you.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie, they kind of like ebb and flow with how they feel about each other.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of that? Like, because I thought, like, when he was wounded, they were going to build upon this thing, but not so much. It's pretty rocky even after that. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, their relationship the whole movie is pretty rocky. And he kind of gave me that Mannequin Skywalker vibe throughout, right? Like, kind of, I wasn't feeling his acting, his emotion a lot of the time.
Well, sometimes that's true for military guys.
That's true.
Too much emotion.
And you and I both know that very well.
Yeah.
That's true. But I feel if you're making a romance movie, you got to throw a little, trying to make a romance movie, you need to throw that emotion in there,
Yeah. I don't know. I again, it comes back to the growth with that ebbing and flow. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They didn't show enough growth between the scenes of when they hated each other versus when they loved each other kind of scenario. Like, it just, like, there was no rhyme or reason to it. It's like, hey, we're going to shoot a scene where you guys hate each other, and then we're going to shoot a scene where you guys are, like, meshing. Like, I don't get it.
And what else was kind of odd is they're keeping all this a secret, but he like tells the drug dealer the whole story.
I hated that. I'm like, why do you tell
this
Let
me fill you in on what I'm doing here.
Don't worry, brother.
Only you. I trust you.
Yeah, and why would he just tell her, hey, I got married? You don't get to tell her it's a sham marriage. No need to tell him it's a sham marriage. Yeah. What an idiot. Well, and then the way that played out, right? Like, he owes his drug dealer all this money, and he's paying him off. And then he finally gets enough money to make the final payment, but then he hits him with his crutch and like starts some shit with the drug dealer. It's like, dude, you're about to get out from underneath it.
Well,
you want to start more crap,
because he came after his
emotional.
family.
Yeah. It's like, how stupid.
But I also, like, how did he now all of a sudden have the money?
Right, yeah.
Like, he's been paying it off a little bit at a time, but now all of a sudden he's like...
Here, bro, I got it.
Well, he
Yeah,
says
it
he
was
was
just strange
behind,
to
so
me.
it made it seem like he was just saving for a lump payment instead of like just paying the guy's regular payment that would have not led him to do the things he
Yeah,
did.
who knows?
I don't
Well,
know.
and
That
when
didn't make sense to
Right.
me.
Well, then in that scene, I mean, the drug dealer pulls a gun on him. He's getting ready to kill the kid. And the drug dealer, I mean, he chased him down with a car, was trying to run him over. He's been threatening his family the whole time. But then the way he gets back at the kid is by turning him in for having a sham marriage. It's just like, what? That's this badass drug dealer's freaking thing. I'm just gonna turn the kid.
Yeah.
You know, and then
And
on top,
talks to the mom.
yeah, talks to the mom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rent you out.
Well, then on top of it, you know, when during the court martial, they're like, we got a signed statement from Johnny so and so, the drug dealer, and it's like.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a signed statement from a freaking, you know, a damn felon, you know, basically.
His lawyer probably
holds
like
no-
whispered to him like, "We got this in the
The
bag.
bag.
There's no way we
His-
can lose." I'm
he
like,
did
"You
whisper
stand
to
up in
him.
the middle of the court and admit to it." And
We're-
you know,
we're-
obviously that's not gonna happen. He's like, "I'd like to say something."
Actually,
Damn it!
She had nothing to do with this.
yeah.
Damn it!
Yeah, there was no way in hell that guy.
But that's what made his dad proud.
Yeah. Proud of you for
Well,
taking
yeah.
responsibility.
it seemed like he did that to get her out of like charges that would have
Yes.
came
Well, he did.
on the
Yes.
civilian side of the house.
Yeah,
But
he did. To keep her had to go through all that nonsense. But either way,
the civilian court would be like, "We don't care about this."
yeah, no, especially they're like, who's the witness? Like, nah, I'm throwing this shit. I'm having some freaking felon drug dealer as the freaking witness. Like, nah, we're good.
And I will say, people can get charged with this in the military. It has happened, so it's not unprecedented, but it's hard to prove.
Exactly. It's just like adultery in the military. Adultery in the military, very hard to prove. You know what I'm saying? You got to catch them in the act. You know,
And
prove
the
it.
UCMJ is a different standard than like a civilian court of law. So, and like he could NJP'd for almost anything, but this is a court martial. You need evidence and everything. So, but he ruins the whole case by admitting to it. So.
Yeah, he just stands up and says, "Yeah, Your Honor, I did it. She had nothing to do with it. So, you know, take me away."
She didn't know. She didn't know.
Yeah, she had no idea.
Now I will say, there were parts that were very entertaining. I thought her singing was kind of entertaining.
She
Yeah,
is
she's a good singer.
She is what Billy would call phenomenal.
She's a phenomenal singer.
I loved her
She's a
voice.
good singer.
I think she's beautiful. Like I loved her dancing. I loved everything about her. I fell in love with her.
She's a good singer.
And I thought the story, some parts
She's a good
were
singer.
ridiculous, but I thought it was grounded enough for what they were doing. I mean, this is
I
no
was.
different
Yeah.
than Matthew McConaughey and as silly as those movies can be with all that stuff. So
And I'm fine with those two.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
He was no Matthew McConaughey.
yeah, it was grounded enough. And besides the Nick Vicky Marine Corps stuff we've picked out already, it was all right.
the war stuff was fine enough. I mean, normally that's pretty cheesy, but they were kind of smart the way they did it. I mean, they didn't even show like the IED go off. They're like, we're not even going to like fake this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's probably actually smart. It just like goes to black and
you
you
hear
hear like a
boom.
boom
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, well,
Yeah,
not great, but it's better than having something look bad.
Exactly.
So-
No, yeah, that was very smart to do that, especially for a low budget type movie as this is.
Now,
so.
I will say there was a scene where like they were talking like through the camera and stuff, and in the background you could see like a sergeant female Marine, and she's got a
Oh,
nose
God.
ring.
Which is
And
nuts.
I said, did I just see that?
He had to rewind
piercings
and pause
are a
that.
big no in the Marine
Dude.
Corps, and she's on deployment in front of everybody. A sergeant, like, come on.
Let me tell you just how bad of a no piercings are in the Marine Corps. So we had a female corporal who came through the and I was a jetback my first enlistment, who came through the gate, and the gate guard caught her with a clear tongue ring. Turned around to our command, they busted her down. I mean, they freaking NJP'd her, busted her down. She lost rank, everything, man, over a freaking tongue ring.
I mean, you can't have like a nipple piercing that's under your shirt the whole time. If they find out about it,
No.
you're going to be in
Yeah,
trouble.
You better be wearing band-aids and all that crap to hide it.
Something.
Yep.
And like to have something out in the open like that,
Oh, yeah.
no.
No.
I mean, clearly they just got whatever actor and they didn't know any better. But
Yeah, it's probably like
it stood out to me, and it's very small in the background, so you gotta have to be paying close attention. But still, the other thing is like they're supposedly in Iraq, and like his buddy died, and it's 2021, and people weren't doing these kind of things in 2021 in
Well,
Iraq.
yeah,
especially.
and then they're just patrolling like out in the open desert.
Exactly.
They're like,
Yeah.
they're like not even
I'm
in
like,
a
what are you
town.
even doing?
Yeah. There's like a walking around out in the open desert. I'm like, what the hell's going on
Where's
here?
your mission here? But whatever.
Yeah, and there was
I
like
had
no.
a mission.
I
Secret.
mean, some of the scenes that showed them in the towns is good. Okay, that's how it should be. But then they're out when the ID goes off out in the open desert. I was like, yeah, you guys kind of missed the mark on that one, I think. But
Yeah. But what do you rate this thing?
I mean, it was okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6. I mean, it was. I'm not upset that I watched it. I mean, it was an okay love story. It was grounded enough. I'll give it a 6.
I thought it explored some things that most don't, which is kind of cool and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But again, the like you said, it was kind of the way it didn't ebb and flow, right? Between
Right.
those two, there wasn't enough of the feel good and the and the feel bad, and it was just you never knew what scene was gonna like. You never knew. Okay, are they gonna like each other this scene? Are they not gonna like each other this scene? What's coming next? They didn't do a very good job
I
with
kind
that.
of wanted to see more of them.
The relationship building.
Yeah, I once they had that communication while he was deployed and came back, I expected a couple of clashes when he came back, but more of a, hey, maybe this is something that can work, let me be here for you kind of thing, versus she's like, oh my God, I have to stay married to you? Like, it was like the worst thing in the world, like.
I thought it was cool, the political balance too, how she was on one side. It showed like some of the Marines on the other side. And I thought that was evenly balanced for the most part, which is kind of nice.
And
she took
harp
offense
on
to him
it.
saying, I want to kill Arabs. And then she's like, you're just going to kill the entire race? Like, how about you go after the bad ones? And he's like, you're taking this kind of out of proportion. I'm a
context,
Marine.
right.
I'm just going over there. Like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that Marine was a dick.
He was a dick. No doubt about it.
Yeah, he didn't grow throughout the movie either. He was a dick the whole time.
Yeah, when he had a girlfriend in it too. And I was surprised he was able to hang on to a girlfriend the way he was talking to people. I was like, man.
Yeah. So, what do you rate this?
God, I want to give it a higher rating, but I'm going to give it a 7 just because I did have a hard time with the relationship building, and I don't know if it's just because of the timing of the movie, they didn't have enough time to do it, but the transitions between how their relationship grew to now I'm in love with you and I want to stay married to you from the beginning, I felt like it was a little disjointed. So I'm going to say 7, but
And you watched it twice.
I did watch
Wow,
it
you went twice.
I did.
Wow,
I watched
okay.
it, and then I watched it with you.
After you ruined a portion.
After
Exactly.
I did spoil it, as we spoiled it for all of you. But the soundtrack, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, those songs are good.
Yeah, I really liked her singing. I really enjoyed watching it, basically for the music, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 6, and this movie's actually better than I thought, but I just can't give it a high score just because the story's not completely well thought out. There's just too many holes and gaps, and with the drug dealer and all that going on. But it's enjoyable. Worth checking out
enjoyable.
if you're craving
I
like
watched
a
it
good
twice,
love
guys.
story, and the military stuff you find interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And if you don't care about all the little military gaffes that they make in it that aren't quite correct,
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
I think that's what they're going for. People like
exactly,
you.
exactly.
People like
well, bottom line is, this is definitely tailored more towards women, right? It was definitely a movie that they're hoping to get the women crowd to watch, and had a little teary eyed.
And the actors look good and stuff like that, and it's an interesting story. So
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's fine.
All right, any closing arguments you guys want to make here?
Closing
Huh?
arguments?
Arguments? What were we, a
back
trial
in
here?
We're in a courtroom now. We're in his court
Our
martial.
marriage is a sham.
We're at his court martial. Oh man!
I don't know why we did it, but
It's
it's
been going on
lasted
for
this
almost
long.
20 years
for the
now.
BAH. So.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Purple Hearts on Netflix. Not a bad movie. Go ahead and watch it. Check it out. Let us know what you think about it. And as always, we appreciate you guys. And hit like and subscribe. We will check you guys in our next review.
See you guys.
See ya. Do you pay for Prime? Do you get them
Did I pay for
refund?
Prime? I don't know who pays for it. I just get
I
it.
I pay for it.
I just get Prime. I'm not paying for it.
I cried because
He
she cried.
didn't even make a big deal of it. Oh, by the way, Frankie's dead.
Freddie
but
dead,
why
but-
did you bring my dad?
You don't know because you already knew it was him.
Oh, that was weird, man.
What?
Like, your hair looked purple. I was like, what? You put purple streaks in your hair, but it's from the freaking light.
This client doesn't have
What
reflections
just
work.
happened?
He's like, oh my God, she's purple.
Oh, shit. Holy crap.
Holy.
Johnny Cage. Freaking Johnny
He's
Cage.
freaking Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
That's where
Johnny
I saw
Cage,
him.
man.
That's where I
That's
saw
where
him.
you saw him.
Oh,
God, this-
All right.